Hey everyone, welcome back here to our home on recipe 15. So today what we're going to do is we're going to play in a little bit of the realm of some Greek treats here, and the inspiration for this has come from a friend of mine who was down joining us for his December holiday. Last year he came and stayed in our tented camp, and he was telling us about this Afrikaans cooking show that he was on, and the presenter was busy making a Tzatziki sauce. Now in Greece they pronounce it Tzatziki, and we'll be pairing that with some nice herby beef meatballs. Right, so again, keeping to our theme of repurposing ingredients and things that we've bought for our pantry now, for our lockdown staples, we've taken out some beef mince, which we've thawed out there for our meatballs. Into the meatball mix is going some caramelized onion and garlic, which we've already got out the way. And what I add into my meatball mix now, we don't use a binding agent like egg or breadcrumb or anything like that. My trick is we actually add mustard. Now, Dijon mustard works best, but you can use any mustard you like. I would just be very cautious of the Coleman's hot mustard if you don't know exactly what that tastes like. We mix it all together, and if you haven't tried using mustard before when you're making homemade burger patties, trust me, just give it a go. The flavor is awesome. And for the tzatziki, we've got some yogurt. You can use the full cream Greek yogurt, is obviously the best stuff to use, but again, that's the yogurt we have for breakfast, so we just repurpose ingredients we already have. You obviously need some cucumber. We've got some nice fresh mint. Got to use fresh mint, can't use the dried stuff. And then in terms of garlic, what we've got here is we've grated some garlic already. Now you need to use the grated garlic. You don't want to be rough chopping the garlic, otherwise when you're eating the tzatziki, you're going to be biting down on big chunks of garlic. Not so rad. Okay, so first step, we're going to get on to making the tzatziki first, because the longer it sits, the more those flavors infuse, so the better it gets. Then I'll get onto the meatballs, and we are going to pan fry those and finish baking in the oven. So the oven's currently warming up to 180. Let's get into this tzatziki. So I'm most fortunate to have my parents-in-law hailing from Greece. So this is my wife's tzatziki recipe, and I certainly can't better it. It's absolutely banging, so that's what we're going to do today. Now, the real trick with a cucumber, of course, is you don't want to just rough chop it and put it into the bowl, because as you can see, that central core, that's where all the water and moisture is sitting, and you just don't want that to be in there, otherwise it's just too watery and you lose all the flavor. So what you want to do is you want to cut it in half, take a spoon and core that center piece out. Then we're going to grate it. You must grate it so that it blends with the yogurt really, really nicely. So as you saw, pivotal step there, as soon as you've grated that cucumber, you have to squeeze all of that water and liquid out of it, otherwise it's just going to make your tzatziki too watery. Now for those of you health nuts out of there, that beautiful green liquid that was left over, you're more than welcome to take a nice big shot of that. Myself, I'm more of a tequila man, so I'll leave that one up to you. Okay, one last step for this cucumber is just a little bit of vinegar, which we will also squeeze out after it's sort of pickled slightly. It just really adds to the flavor. You're going to need something that's a little acidic when you're working, especially with kind of like a full cream yogurt or something like that. So I'm just going to drizzle a little bit of apple cider vinegar over there, stir it up, and then we can start the mix. You've got to be recycling and reusing these jars in your own home is the best way to do that. So we're going to add some of this cucumber into the jar. Next step, I'm going to add some of this garlic. Now, when my wife makes tzatziki, there's enough garlic in it that it actually gives you like a chili burn on the tongue when you're eating it. So I'm not going to quite invest all of this garlic into that because I don't want that kind of a commitment just now, if I'm fairly honest. So we've put in half of that garlic, and now we're going to rough chop some of that delicious mint. There we go. Then the yogurt. I'm going to add a little bit of salt, And then look at that. How beautiful is that? You can just give it a nice little stir around now. Let it mix up nicely. Get all of those colors and ingredients going. And then we're gonna put this in the fridge. Let those flavors all start to marry up and jolt together. And we'll get those meatballs going. Ooh, that's good. Great, so now we're ready for the meatballs. I've got my caramelized onion and garlic. Just gonna throw that right into there. And I've got a little bit of Dijon and a little bit of whole grain mustard. So I'm gonna throw a little bit of both in there. Plus, I've got that old rosemary that's been drying out in my fridge. Absolutely nothing wrong with it. We're just gonna sprinkle some of that into this meat mixture, give a little mix around, and we're gonna be golden. Okay, so I'm really happy with this mixture sitting in. You would have seen at the end I threw in some smoked paprika just because I think you picked up by now. That's something I really dig. So it should smell really nice, which it does at this stage. I've got a little bowl of water here, which helps when you're rolling up and working with meat. Now I've got my pan on the go with some olive oil heating up, and I'm going to roll these into sort of golf ball size little goons, and I'm going to drop them straight into the pan. That's good. Great, so the meatballs are busy getting nice and kind of toasty and dark on the bottom. What I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to tilt the pan and use some of that kind of oil and juice that's already running out. Baste the top of them, then I'm taking that pan, banging it in the oven, and we should be good in about 5 to 10. Right, so I'm dead happy with that. These came out absolutely beautiful. I just threw a little bit of onion in the middle there while it was cooking and slowed the heat down because it just seemed like the right thing to do. And well, frankly, that's what cooking is. You're creating, it's like building a puzzle, you know, you need to be doing new things all the time. What I'm also going to do, so we've got something nice to eat with and dip the tzatziki in, is I've got these sun-dried tomato and basil tortillas. It's the last one we've got, so I've cut it into these little wedges. I'm going to heat up some olive oil in a pan, and I'm going to toast them up, and they actually basically come out like chips. And there you have it, our rosemary herb-infused meatballs with the Tzatziki sauce. Although we did the Greek version, so that's a tzatziki and our nice sun-dried tomato and basil tortilla chips. This is a great afternoon snack no matter how you look at it. Best paired with some ouzo and an ice cold beer, but I'll leave that up to you. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow.